Hi, you two. Welcome to your science lesson for today. And today we are going to be learning more about the different animal groups and life cycles. So let's see who can remember the matching adult and baby names from last week's science lesson. So here we have a picture of a cat. Who can remember what the baby name is for a cat? That's right. Well done. It's a kitten. Fantastic. Let's try this one. It's a little bit trickier. What is the baby name for the elephant? Amazing. Well done to those of you that remembered. It is a calf. Okay. Usually we think of a calf as a baby cow, which it is, but it's also a baby elephant. It's a tricky one. Okay. What about this one? What is the name of a baby dog? Excellent. It is, of course, a puppy. And what about our horses here? What is the name of a baby horse? This one's also a little bit tricky. Well done to those of you that remembered. It is a foal. Well done. And the last one we have here is a chicken. A chicken. I gave you a little clue there. What's the baby name for a chicken? That's it. Of course, it is a chick. Well done. Okay, so last week we looked at two different animal groups. We looked at mammals, like us, and birds, and we spoke about how they change as they grow. Can you remember what is different about mammals and birds? What is the main difference between mammals and birds? Who can remember? That's right. Mammals grow inside their mother's womb, and birds grow in an egg outside of the mother. Okay, we're just going to recap how these two animal groups change as they grow before we introduce you to some new animal groups. So, mammals. These animals are mammals and they grow inside their mother's womb. When they are born, they look quite like their parents, just like you, but just much smaller, not a little bit smaller, much smaller. Their mothers feed them with milk and take care of them as they grow. And their bodies grow bigger and stronger until they're able to take care of themselves. Mother birds lay eggs and they sit on them to keep them warm until the eggs are ready to hatch. Baby birds are tiny, blind, and weak when they hatch. Their parents keep them safe and bring them food. So, just like mammals, really. The chicks grow bigger and stronger and grow thick feathers. Soon they're able to fly away and have babies of their own. So, as I mentioned, there are lots of other animal groups. You have mammals, we have birds, and those are the two that we've spoken about. We also have fish and reptiles, amphibians, and insects. Okay, so here's a little challenge question for you. Where would you find insects? What kind of habitats do they live in? What are those habitats called where insects live? That's right, it's a microhabitat. Well done to those of you that remembered. So, today we're going to talk more about reptiles and amphibian animal groups before we move on to life cycles. So, amphibians, most of them lay their eggs in water. These eggs are called spawn. They hatch and the tiny tadpoles live in the water. They eventually grow legs and finally their tails fall off and they're able to climb out of the water. Do you know an amphibian? That's right. A frog is an amphibian. They grow in the water and we see them as little tadpoles and then they grow legs and then their tails fall off and they become frogs. They change so much during their life cycle. And reptiles. So reptiles, you'll see that there's snakes and turtles and lizards. These are all reptiles. Crocodiles. Most reptiles are born from eggs. So like birds, though some are not. Reptile hatchlings look like their parents. So baby reptiles are actually called hatchlings. Usually, reptile mothers do not look after their babies. The babies take care of themselves as they grow. How interesting. So, reptile babies just look after themselves. Crazy. So, let's see how well you were listening, year two. We are going to play Guess the Animal Group. Are you ready? They grow in their mother's womb. What reptile group is this? What reptile group? What animal group is this? Reptiles, birds, amphibians, or mammals? Well done. Those are mammals. Mammals grow in their mother's womb. Let's try another one. They usually lay eggs in water. Is that our reptiles, our birds, our amphibians, or our mammals? They usually lay eggs in water. Brilliant. Well done. It's an amphibian. They are blind when they are born. Who can remember which animal groups are born blind? Reptiles, birds, amphibians, or mammals? Well done for remembering. It is, of course, the birds. They look after themselves when they are born. Which animal group look after themselves when they are born? Amazing. It's reptiles, of course. Well done, year two. You're doing really well. And you're going to have questions just like this in your Google quiz. So there's lots of differences between these different animal groups. There's also lots of things that are the same between them. But there's something that they all have, and that is a life cycle. What is a life cycle? I think we could use our Viper skills here to work out what a life cycle might be. So let's have a think. Which Viper will I use? I'm going to use my V Viper. I'm going to use clues around in the text, and I'm going to use clues from the word. So life cycle. Well, I know what life is. So it's something to do with being alive, something to do with living. Cycle. I just think of a bike when I think of cycle. Cycling a bike. Cycling a bike. The wheels on a bike go round and round. Maybe it's something to do with how life goes around. Let's see. I have a little video for you to watch. I have a little video for you to watch in a moment. So a life cycle shows us the stages that a living thing goes through during its life. So all living things have a life cycle. It goes around and around and around, just like a wheel on a bicycle. Okay, it never ends. It just goes around and around. And I'm going to play you now a short video to tell you more about life cycles.
Hey, you. Excuse me. Could I, Well, never mind. They're busy. They're all getting on with the business of life. From starting off small to growing up to producing the next generation, all living things have a life cycle, and each stage is as important as the last. For these Arctic fox cubs, life is all play at the moment. But there is a serious side to the fun and games. They are learning the skills they will need to survive as adults, like hunting and chasing. When the fox cub grows into an adult, it will need to catch its own food and be able to survive the harsh conditions where it lives. Only then will it have a chance to reproduce to make the next generation of Arctic foxes, to complete the Arctic fox's life cycle. Life cycles are as varied and diverse as life on Earth. Whether it's a mammal, like the Arctic fox, or a bird, or a plant, or an insect, different groups of organisms all have different kinds of life cycles. These are the seeds of the also-mitra vine, a type of climbing plant. The plant starts life as these amazing gliding seeds. Their incredible gliding shape helps distribute new plants all around the forest. The seed germinates and a new vine begins to grow up towards the light. When the vine's flower is pollinated by insects or other animals, seeds will grow and the next generation is started. The life cycle starts again. One of the most amazing life cycles in nature can happen in your own back garden or local pond. These are tadpoles. They've hatched from these small jelly-covered eggs. They don't look like much. Perhaps you might think they're a small fish, but they're about to go through an amazing transformation and turn into one of these. Frogs and toads are amphibians, and they have an incredible life cycle. Their remarkable transformation happens through a process we call metamorphosis. The tadpole grows a spine, it grows legs. It loses its gills for breathing in water and grows lungs that can breathe air instead. It even changes its digestive system to allow it to eat worms and insects. The tadpole seems to change into a completely different creature. But these adult frogs will start the next generation. The females will lay eggs, and the hatching tadpoles will go through the same remarkable metamorphosis. A transformation that, if you're lucky, you might be able to see happening in your own back garden or local park. Amphibians are not the only animals that go through metamorphosis. From the moment they emerge from their eggs, caterpillars are eating machines. They need to put on as much weight as possible as quickly as possible. So they eat and eat and eat. If this caterpillar was a human baby, within a month it would be the size of a bus, which is one big baby. But all this eating is for a very good reason. Caterpillars need to store up a lot of energy as they will soon go through a remarkable transformation. Like a tadpole, they will go through metamorphosis and emerge as a completely different looking creature. The adult butterfly will look for a mate. The females will lay eggs, and a new generation of hungry caterpillars will be born, starting the life cycle all over again. These eggs have been laid by the female osprey. Ospreys are found all over the world, but in the UK, these osprey chicks are very rare. Like almost all birds, learning to fly is a big step in their life. Some get it quicker than others. As adults, these magnificent birds of prey specialize in hunting fish. They catch fish to survive, but when they reproduce and start the next generation, they also need to catch fish to feed their young. The growing they did as chicks and the skills they developed as young adults helped them to survive and eventually produce the next generation of ospreys, to start the life cycle again. This mammal probably looks very familiar to you. Like every other living thing in nature, we humans have a life cycle too. We start out small, we grow, and we learn new skills which we can use to look after ourselves as adults, just like other living creatures. And we reproduce the next generation, so the life cycle can start all over again. So although it happens in an amazing amount of different ways, from your back garden to the local park to the farthest corners of the world, we can see that all living things have a life cycle. Life starts off small, it grows into an adult, and it produces the next generation. So the whole process can start all over again. I'm glad you agree.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that video, year two. So, as you heard, there are lots of different life cycles. Everybody's life cycle is different. Every animal's life cycle is different. And it shows us the stages that a living thing goes through during its life. Now, I think you're ready for your quiz. Remember, you can watch this video again. All the slides are there to help you answer the questions to your quiz. I look forward to seeing how well you've all been listening. Okay, bye, year two.